Hi, welcome to Code.io. This is the third episode of the problem solving series that we have started with HackerRank, and if you haven't seen the past two videos, just go ahead and watch it. In this video, we'll be solving a question that is more like the questions that we are going to solve in this series. Okay, so the first two questions were very simple, and this is not that difficult as well, but this is the type of question, or this is the model that we are going to be solving a lot of questions on. Okay, so the name of the question is compare the triplets, and they have given a problem statement. So the previous questions, they didn't have problem statements, they just stated what they want you to do. So the first question was like get two integers, add them and print it, and the second question was add all the numbers in an array. So it was very straightforward, and they told you what you do, what they want you to do. Okay, but in this question they have given you a scenario. It's like a word problem, like in when we are in middle school, or even what is below that, primary school, we would have solved such problems like word problems, no? So the logic might be very simple, but they would have modeled it into a problem using words. So the key is here to understand the problem properly and then to solve it. So I'll first read the question, you try to understand it, and I'll explain the question as well, and later we'll discuss the logic behind this and we'll try to code it. Okay, so as I already said, the name of the question is compare the triplets, and here goes the question. Alice and Bob each created one problem for HackerRank. So we are introduced with two characters, Alice and Bob, and they have created one problem each for HackerRank. A reviewer rates the two challenges, awarding points on a scale of 1 to 100 for three categories: problem clarity, originality, and difficulty. Okay, so there is a reviewer who reviews these problems which were submitted by Alice and Bob on a scale of 0 to, on a scale of 1 to 100. So the rating that they are going to receive for their problem is from 1 to 100, and it is going to be on three different categories. So the categories are clarity, originality, and difficulty of the problem. So both these problems are going to be rated on these categories. Okay, the rating of Alice's challenge is the triplet A of 0, A of 1, and A of 2. So the Alice's categories, the scores that Alice got for her problem on the categories will be A of 0, A of 1, and A of 2. So what they are telling is you will be receiving three integers, and that is going to be the rating that Alice receives, and similarly for Bob too. So they are giving you 6 integers in first row and second row. The first row will have 3 integers and the second row will have 3 integers, denoting the ratings that Alice and Bob received for their respective problems. So what you have to do is you have to calculate the score. So if Alice has scored a higher mark in a particular category, Alice gets a point. If Bob has scored a higher point, Bob gets a point. And at the end you have to print what is the score that Alice and Bob has got. So that is the question. And the one more important condition that they are given is A of I equals B of I means no one receives a point. So what they have told is you have to definitely beat the other one. There is no draw here. If both of them got the same score, no one gets a point. That is what they are telling here. So you'll have to go through these conditions and understand them properly. That is very key to solving these problems in problem solving now. Okay, so now we have got the question properly. The input format is like this. So you have two lines of input. First line has 3 integers, second line has another 3 integers. The first line has ratings for Alice's problems, the second line has ratings for Bob's problem. So you have to get the input for these two problems with ratings, and you have to compare them and reward marks to Alice and Bob, and you have to finally print the score that Alice and Bob has secured. Okay, so I think the problem is clear. Now we'll try to code this and see how it goes. So as usual, I'm going with C++, you can go with anything else, but I recommend C++. And I recommend you to erase everything and start from scratch, because in the beginning it will really help you to learn the syntax properly. Okay, so now I'm going to go and C line and we'll copy paste it here because that looks pretty. I'm stating the reason again and again. Okay, fine. Now I'll just start by including IO stream. Okay, using namespace std int main return 0. The fact that I am typing it again and again is to emphasize that you have to do this as well, so you get better at this. Okay, so we are going to get 6 integers, right? The first one is scores that Alice's problem has scored, and the second one is for Bob's problem. So I am just going to have an array of size 3. So the first array will be A and it is of size 3, and similarly the second array will also have size 3 and it is named as B, Alice and Bob. Okay, so now we are going to get the input. So I'm just going to use a for loop to get input for these arrays. Int I equals 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. So this iteration will be for 3 times and it is going to get input for Alice's problem. Okay, A of I. Now we are just going to use the very same thing. Okay, just instead of Alice's problem, we are going to get input for Bob's problem. Okay, now it's fine. So we have got all the inputs that we need. Now we have to have variables to keep score, to keep count of the score that Alice and Bob has secured. So I have created 2 variables, Alice and Bob, and initialized them with 0. So now what we are going to do is we are going to traverse through these through arrays. Now we are going to traverse through these 2 arrays. Okay, so now we are going to traverse through these through arrays. Through. Tongue twister. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to traverse these arrays and we'll compare the score that they have secured. Okay, now we again have iterative statement that goes from 0 to 2, and we are going to compare the scores they have secured. So I'm just going to compare A of I with B of I. If A of I is greater than B of I, it just means that Alice has scored a point. So Alice plus plus. Else if B of I is greater than A of I, it means Bob has scored a point. I hope I'm making sense here. So if A of I is greater than B of I, it means Alice has scored a point in particular category. So the overall point for Alice is being incremented. If B of I is greater than A of I, it means Bob has scored higher points in a particular category. So Bob's point has been incremented. If none of this has happened, no one gets a point. So I'm just going to give continue. You can also leave it aside. You don't have to give it as well. But just for my convenience, I have given continue. Okay, now we are just going to print the scores that Alice and Bob has secured. And that's it. No, the thing is you have to give a space in between. So that is the output format. So you have to give a space in between Alice and Bob's score. So now that is finished. Now I'll just copy this and try to paste it in HackerRank and we'll run it now. Okay, the sample test cases has been passed and I'm trying to submit it. Okay, so all the test cases has been passed. Okay, this is a very simple problem. I hope you understood everything. The key here is to understand the question properly before getting into the solution. Okay, so read the question properly, maybe even twice. Get to know the question, understand it properly, try on the sample inputs and check if your understanding is right, and only then move on to solving the problem. Okay, this is the best advice that I can give you. Read the question properly, understand it clearly, go through the sample inputs. Only if you understand it properly, try coding it. Okay,
so this is today's try-test question. So 1, 2, 3 are the marks of Alice and 4, 5, 6 are the marks of Bob. What would be the answer that we'd get if this were the input? Let me know your answers in the comment section below.
So if you have any questions in this particular problem, let us know in the comments and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And see you in the next video of the problem solving series. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.